Hello, nice to meet you. My name is JJ. Can you please tell me your full name? Okay, what can I call you? Alright, so in this first part of the test, I'm going to ask you some general questions about yourself. So let's first of all talk about where you live. Do you live in an apartment or a house? What do you dislike about living there? What sort of accommodation would you most like to live in? Alright, and do you want to learn how to cook well? Okay, then what housework do you like or dislike doing? And do you have breakfast at home every day? Alright, and now let's move on to talk about weather. Do you prefer dry weather or wet weather? Okay, and are you in the habit of checking the weather forecast? When and how often? Okay, and what do you think are the effects of climate change in recent years? Alright, so now we're going to move on to the second part of the test. In this part, I'm going to give you a topic and I would like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. But before you talk, you will have 1 minute to prepare and think about what you're going to say, and you can make notes if you wish. Okay? Alright, so the cue card question is, describe something that you did with someone or a group of people. Okay, you have 1 minute to prepare. Can you start speaking now, please? Alright, so now we are going to move on to the last part of the test. In this part, I'm going to ask you more general questions related to your topic. So the first question is, how do you get along with your neighbors? Mm-hmm. Then how do neighbors help each other? Okay, then do you think neighbors help each other more often in the countryside than in the city? Okay, and the last question is, how do children learn to cooperate with each other? All right, so the test is over. Good work, guys. Now I'm going to show you my band score 8 answers to all these questions. Do you live in an apartment or a house? I live in a 3-bedroom apartment with my family. Well, the house is not that big, but it's the perfect size for the 3 of us to live comfortably in. Yeah, it's very cozy and comfy. What do you dislike about living there? Well, I'm quite satisfied with where I live, but just one thing that I'm not really happy about is that it has a small kitchen. Not that it is that much small, but it has limited counter space, which is quite inconvenient when I'm cooking. What sort of accommodation would you most like to live in? Well, I would love to live in a house with a huge pool and a beautiful garden with a patio swing. Well, I love to grow lots of vegetables in my garden, such as tomatoes and lettuce, something like that. Do you want to learn how to cook well? Of course. If I have a chance, I would love to learn how to cook well. Well, I'm interested in trying new recipes and all. So I actually search cooking videos on YouTube a lot. So yes, if I get to have the opportunity to learn cooking formally, that'll be great. What housework do you like or dislike doing? Well, I don't dislike any housework in particular, but if I had to choose one to talk about, it would be doing laundry. It takes too long and I find it quite boring. Do you have breakfast at home every day? No, not really. I often skip breakfast because I'm usually very busy getting ready for work in the morning. However, I never skip my morning coffee. Do you prefer dry or wet weather? I would rather have dry weather because I'm not too fond of sticky feelings, When it's hot and humid, I feel so sticky and don't want to do anything outside. So I do prefer dry weather. Are you in the habit of checking the weather forecast? Well, I don't check the weather forecast very often, but I do check the forecast when I'm traveling because, I normally do lots of outdoor activities like hiking, surfing, and walking tour. So I do check the forecast frequently while traveling, but normally I don't do it often. What do you think are the effects of climate change in recent years? Well, to be honest, I don't know much about the climate change, but as far as I know, the climate change has been affecting in many ways. Because of that, sea level is rising and ice is melting, and I think it's going to get worse and worse. Describe something that you did with someone or a group of people. Okay, let me tell you about the time I went for bike riding with my friend Han. Well, recently I'm really into riding a bicycle, so I even try to commute by bike during the week. And on weekends, I usually go to the park for bike riding. And my friend Han likes riding a bicycle in the park as much as I do. So we often go for it together. It's good that I have someone to enjoy bike riding with. Well, so last weekend, we went to my favorite park, which is huge and has a variety of facilities like tennis courts, walking trails, and well-managed bike trails, and so on. Well, so whenever I go there, I can see lots of people running, cycling, and even enjoying picnic. I love its vivid and lively ambience. Anyway, so in the park, of course, we enjoyed bike riding together. It was great that I could relieve my stress and get some fresh air. Yeah, it was as perfect as usual. Well, I love cycling because it's fun, but also it's great for both physical and mental health. It helps me to get into shape and also reduce stress. I mean, since I started riding a bicycle regularly, I've been feeling much more energetic and less stressed. So, yeah, I would like to do it more often with my good friend Han. How do you get along with your neighbors? Well, I think I'm on friendly terms with most of my neighbors, and I'm quite close to the neighbor who lives next door. Well, actually, he's so energetic and has a good sense of humor, so when I spend time in it, he constantly cracks me up and makes me laugh all the time. How do neighbors help each other? We can help each other in many different ways. For example, we can share things we need, such as tools or food. Well, one of my neighbors has a garden and often gives me some random vegetables like tomatoes and peppers, which is so sweet, And I also helped her once moving some delivery boxes. Do you think neighbors help each other more often in the countryside than in the city? Well, as far as I'm concerned, neighbors in the countryside may be more likely to help each other. But it doesn't mean that people in the city do not give a hand to each other. As I said before, I get along with my neighbors. We share food and help if one of us is in need. How do children learn to cooperate with each other? In my view, children learn from what they see, so parents should show them how to cooperate. Plus, it's important to have open conversation talking about what cooperation is and, how important it is and stuff.